Hello, welcome. This is my first intra-week update. I know it's still Monday, and I know the market is still far from being closed. Well, not too far actually. We have about 5 hours for the markets to all completely close. But I do have some interesting things that I thought I should add. Firstly, as an extension of the weekly outlook video, and secondly, as an actual update that I wanted to add for the week. So let's start off with the dollar index, but specifically euro and pound. So with the dollar index, we already know that we are currently trading inside of the monthly sell side imbalance, right? And I was mentioning how the NFP high could be the high of the month. There's a chance, especially if we are expecting a lower a bearish closing month, right? A bearish month. Normally with the power of 3, or basically how any candle prints, we have the opening price, then we would typically expect a high to be formed at some point, a low to eventually be formed, and then we close off the month, right? Wherever we do decide to close off. Sometimes the low is the close. So yeah, I don't know what the possibility is of us actually opening up like this, creating a low of the month with such a tiny tail, and expand from there when CPI hasn't even happened, where FOMC hasn't even happened, you know, where the big 3 major news events hasn't even happened throughout the course of the month. Of course, there's still a chance that we can trade higher, right? But I would personally like to see us trade lower from here. And I have a few, should I say, indicators for that. Firstly, on the hourly time frame, I would like to see this massive imbalance get disrespected. I've already covered that in the weekly outlook video, so I'm waiting for us to close below. But that's not the thing I wanted to cover in this video. In this video, I saw on euro dollar, you know, the correlated pair, something interesting that I marked out was actually from the weekly perspective, right? Firstly, on the monthly time frame, we know that we're currently trading inside of the buy side imbalance there as well, the bullish fair value gap. But on the weekly perspective, the thing that would tell me or indicate to me that we are likely going to be bearish in this market is if somehow we create a bearish fair value gap somewhere here, right? So if this is the indication that we are going to be bearish, then the only objective that I'm waiting for or looking for this week is for us to trade up and return back to this price. Because what's going to, okay, now my arrows all over the place, because what's going to happen in this case is that we would negate the possibility of a bearish fair value gap being formed on a weekly time frame. And when that happens, then that could indicate that we are losing momentum, bearish momentum, right? Because we're failing to create weekly bearish fair value gaps, right? So I'm hoping and I'm wanting to see if CPI could run to this point, negate this exact level at 1.10832. Once we get to that point, then I could look for possible continuation higher. And at that point, I'm assuming that on the daily time frame, we might also create a bullish fair value gap. Another thing that I'm pointing out, and you can probably see this purple line on my chart, which I think I've also covered in the video, in the weekly outlook video, is the fact that this could end up becoming a bullish order block in the future, right? So we should watch for possible trade higher to close above this body opening and a retracement of some sort before we find a continuation higher. This could be something to note. Actually, let's mark out that same weekly level that we were looking at, then go down to the daily. So yeah, on the daily, it's basically this fair value gap. So that shows if we do get this order block here, right? If this actually becomes a daily order block, inside of this area, when we trade exactly to this daily fair value gap, what would have happened would be that we negate the possibility of creating a weekly gap. So I would look to see if this bearish fair value gap could act as an inverted gap, as if some sort of support eventually. So we trade above the monthly opening, then we can find support in this bearish gap to continue higher to 1.13 levels. So yeah, this is what I'm looking for this week. But so far, what I find interesting and what made me want to even make this weekly outlook intra-week update is the fact that right now, I know it's so early to be calling the bottoms in these markets, especially on a no news Monday. That is not a good idea in any way, to be trying to catch a top or a low or whatever on a day like this one. It's actually preferable to just stay out the markets completely. But I found this interesting. I found the fact that we created an SMT divergence inside of this massive high time frame PDRA. I know at this point we are not using time frame alignment at all, because of the fact that the PDRA is from the monthly time frame, so our confirmation is needed on the daily, not the 1 hour. Right, I just saw the 1 hour interesting when I was passing by, because we had an SMT at the lows there. We created an order block, a bullish order block with a fair value gap. I'm very interested to see if the low has actually been made. If this low created on a Monday during London session could be the low of the week, because if this SMT is created and we continue and completely disrespect this NFP imbalance and we do the same on dollar, then that could also mean that this daily order block, the purple area, would be a higher probability order block for us to continue buying. Okay, now I just touched that by mistake. For us to continue buying EURUSD. For those that are wondering what the SMT is, there is what GBPUSD looks like. So you can see GBP we successfully took Friday's low, and we've been very weak. It's been literally stagnant, failing to try and make a new high. So yeah, NFP drops, made a swing low. Today, Monday, we took that low. When you look at the euro dollar, NFP drops, made a swing low. Today we're failing to take that low, and we have a fair value gap there with an order block. Very interesting. I don't know if this is going to hold. Of course, not the highest probability order block for multiple reasons. Yes, we took this swing low as liquidity, but I can't just take any order block just because it's an order block, because otherwise we just look for a pattern and everything should work all the time, right? But that's not the case here. So yeah, I'm also paying attention to NZDJPY. I know I haven't really talked about exotic pairs or cross pairs in a while, but I'm paying attention to it because I'm framing a possible swing idea on them using the IPTA data range. I think you guys know that I learned my IPTA data range from ICT's core content series. I believe the second part, if I'm not mistaken. But yeah, I am back using them again. So yeah, here we have NZD JPY. We have the opening price for the month. I was actually looking to see if we could get a continuation from here to take the 20 days high, then yeah, create a higher swing low for us to continue higher. The reason I'm looking at this is just because this week we have I believe we have rates for NZD. So but that's tomorrow during Asia session. So tomorrow evening we'll be having rates on this, on New Zealand dollar, and I found the yen to be a good pair because overall I'm leaning more towards bullish price action on yen crosses. So we could get a possibility of us taking this swing low here before finding our way back up. So yeah, this I'm just going to watch it day by day as I do with the IPTA data range. I don't just predict, I watch to see what price does, and I adjust accordingly. So I'll try and make, I won't say daily updates on this one, maybe I will, but I'll give something on relevant days, so maybe every other day or something. But yeah, I'm trying to frame a trade idea on this to take either buys or sells. We will see. But yeah, I'm only taking that just because of the interest rate differentials between the two currencies and a few other factors. So yeah, those are the few updates that I have on currency pairs. When we move on to indices, on Russell daily chart, I was looking for a possibility of this rejection because we just came out of the weekly buy side imbalance on all of them, right? This purple area is the weekly buy side imbalance. On the daily, I was looking for a possibility of a rejection from this down close candle, because notice this last down close candle, NFP came, we closed above it, making it a possible bullish order block. So I was looking for a rejection today. I know we are still, again, we're still far from closure, but considering the fact that we've just been consolidating the whole day, I don't know what to expect from this. Actually, I'm looking to see if we find some sort of respect on this order block by the end of the day. If we see a respect and we see a continuation higher, we see 4-hour bullish fair value gaps, you know, being created. You know, right now we are pushing down to this small 4-hour gap right now. So if we reject away from it, maybe close above the new week opening gap as well. If we close above it, then we could find some sort of support to continue buying this. Otherwise, we might go for a previous week low before pushing up again. The reason I say that we might go for previous week low is because when you look at the other indices, right, other index, stock index futures, you notice that the way we reversed last week was this slow grind with so many failure swings without any clear liquidity sweep. So this makes me still think that that CPI could still come for these lows. We could still find one more liquidity sweep, a total soup of some sort, before we find an expansion higher. And I'll be very fine with this actually happening. I'll be okay with it. But if we do find the continuation higher, then firstly, I don't like the fact that we are respecting 4-hourly imbalances. For example, take this CB right here. Yes, we closed above it when we opened, but literally the next candle after that started closing below, and right now we have this 4-hour imbalance over here also being respected somewhat, you know. So yeah, again, very soon to tell, because we are still in lunchtime. Anything can still happen. When you zoom down, you notice that it's just been a massively consolidative day. This has not been the best day. This is literally London and New York, a complete mess, no real direction. We go for the highs, we come for the lows, go for the highs, come for the lows. So yeah, I can't say anything here with certainty. We would have to wait for the day to close and see how it closes. If we close and disrespect this CB, disrespect this massive one, this imbalance here, and close above the new week opening gap again, I am mentioning the exact same thing. Let me actually just use the indicator to bring it up quickly. You would see this current week's. Notice how this week opening aligns with the previous week's one. This is 3 weeks ago. This was the previous week's one. I also noticed when we were closing on Friday that we were actually closing next to the previous week's one. So that was interesting. So for me, my greatest confluence right now would be a solid closure above this imbalance on the 4-hour, and this imbalance from I can call it an imbalance, the new week opening gaps colliding there. So I can then use them as some sort of support, maybe during CPI, to push higher. Otherwise, I'm really not liking the fact that we're staying below them. I'm not liking the fact that they could be used as some sort of resistance to push low, to clear these smooth edges first before we think of higher prices. But you do know that ultimately I'm bullish because of the higher time frame on all in stock index futures. When you look at it from the weekly time frame, you'd hopefully see why, because of this weekly imbalance. So basically, internal range liquidity to external range liquidity, but nothing is wrong with a quick liquidity sweep before we do exactly that. Nothing's wrong with that, because we will still be within the weekly gap. to do that. So take the previous week low, then continue higher. CPI possibly making the low of the week. Yeah, that makes trading the rest of the week simpler, easier. Yeah, but for now, that's all I have. Just wanted to cover a few of those. I don't believe I have anything else. I have nothing on gold yet, so if I do see something clearer, I'll give it to you guys. With crude oil, I'm still bullish, but it doesn't seem I will get the entry that I wanted, because today I wanted to see if we'll tag into this imbalance, but looking at how the daily candle is expanding higher and how we created an SMT at the lows with natural gas right there during London session. When you look at RB, which is natural gas, you'll notice that we took the lows before pushing up, while oil didn't. Oil had a failure swing, so we might not even tag this daily gap at all. But I'll be looking to see if we create new daily gaps in the future. We have so much room to run, so I'm not going to chase after price right now. And yeah, I think that's all. Crypto, I don't really trade that too much, and I just wanted to make a very quick video. If I see anything interesting during the course of the week, I will make another intra-week update. For now, stay safe, good luck, of course, be careful, lower your risk, and good trading.